Hello everybody and welcome to another video on the Pole Position YouTube channel. In this video we are going to be looking at the 3 days of testing in Bahrain. I'm filming this on the Monday. We've obviously had the nice long weekend of winter testing, although it hasn't felt like the winter because obviously they've been doing it in the lovely warm climate of Bahrain. But we're going to look at some of the main points that's happened over the 3 days, and a lot of talk's been about Red Bull, so we're obviously going to discuss that. Are they the main title contenders for this season? Without further ado, let's get into the video. So yes, a lot of talk has been about Red Bull. They have had a fantastic test. There's no denying it. They've obviously been one of the high runners in terms of lap counts. At the end of the test yesterday, on the final day, Sergio Perez topped the timesheets in the morning, and Max Verstappen then did exactly the same thing in the afternoon. So he finished the test with the fastest lap of the 3 days, a 1:28.9, and that is actually a faster time than they had in FP1 last season, and they were supposed to be reducing the speed of the cars for this year. So although maybe they've reduced it in some aspects, the engineers have worked really hard to make sure they're not losing time, and more than that, they've actually gained time, which is fantastic to see. And 64 laps for Max Verstappen yesterday, 49 for Sergio Perez. So like I said, the lap counts are looking really good as well. If I go on to the actual lap counts for day 3, Red Bull were on 113, but overall, they've had a really high, success rate of getting no reliability issues, which is fantastic. And Max Verstappen is really upbeat about it. They definitely think it's been one of the best winter tests, and you have to agree with them, because the last few, they had issues last year. They couldn't control the rear of the car; it was just spinning out. No issues. When you're watching them on board, it just looks like they're turning in and it's sticking completely onto the track, and it's looking a good car this year. The Honda power unit's also looking good. They obviously brought their developments forward this year because they're leaving at the end of this year with Red Bull taking it over for 2022. But Honda look like they've done some great work with the power unit, and not just Red Bull as well. AlphaTauri looked fantastic as well. Pierre Gasly again has been putting in the laps, and both him and Yuki Tsunoda have really been putting in terms of the lap times for qualifying pace as well, and he was keeping up with Max Verstappen in the afternoon test of day 3 as well. So AlphaTauri look like they could be a real good contender. I think they're in the mix. I didn't think they would be so much, but I think they're in the mix alongside McLaren and Aston Martin. But yeah, in terms of Red Bull, they do look like a huge title contender, if not going into the first race in Bahrain, the actual favourites to win the race, because Mercedes haven't had a great winter test. They had a few issues. Valtteri Bottas only managed 6 laps on the first day. Lewis Hamilton didn't manage many in the afternoon of the first day either. He then span out on day 2, and mentioning what was the case with Red Bull last year with issues with the rear of the car and not looking balanced. I would say Mercedes have had that throughout the test this year. Even yesterday, Lewis Hamilton didn't look in control. Yes, they got more lap counts in, and the reliability issues were sort of being ironed out, which was great, but it didn't look as fast as the Red Bull. And yeah, it looked a bit snappy. So I think Lewis Hamilton has said we're just not quick enough at the moment, and they're obviously having he would say everywhere's an issue. There's not one point that he could pin down to say, this is the problem. They think it's issues all over the car. And I wouldn't say to like a huge extent. Mercedes, we don't know what their true pace is. I think Verstappen, we still don't know what Red Bull and Verstappen's true pace is. So I think Mercedes are obviously holding back in terms of their full qualifying pace. Like I said, no team really shows their true pace until the first actual race weekend. So we can't take too much into the times, but the fact that Max Verstappen beat FP1 last year at Bahrain's time is looking good for Red Bull, but I think Mercedes will still go into that first race weekend and still nail laps with both drivers. So I don't think it's a huge issue, but he does think that Red Bull are going to be a different animal. Lewis Hamilton this year, he thinks they're going to be a sort of real tough competition. Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen, 2 Red Bull cars for this year. He thinks it's going to be a lot more difficult. So it will be good to see the first qualifying and the first race weekend of the season where Red Bull and Verstappen and Mercedes actually are. I think it's going to be closer than I originally thought, which hopefully is really good news for us as fans. Not a fantastic test for Aston Martin. Again, they had some reliability issues, Vettel's final day in terms of lap count was 117, and that was only one more than Lewis Hamilton. Like I said, Mercedes didn't have the best sort of winter test, but it's half the mileage of what Pierre Gasly did at AlphaTauri. So like I said, AlphaTauri and Red Bull had some great sort of mileage in that car. Kimi Raikkonen actually is another one. I wasn't going to mention it, but Kimi Raikkonen was another one yesterday who did almost 3 race simulations yesterday. Did over 160 laps or something. So yeah, Kimi Raikkonen and Alfa Romeo looking good in terms of their reliability as well. Sebastian Vettel is not that worried about sort of the reliability. You know, obviously they've got most of their race programming or the things that they wanted to do done, which is good. It still looks the best car on the grid, but I think in terms of work they still need to do on the first sort of practice of the season in Bahrain, I still think they've got a bit more to do. But you know, I think they're still going to be up there alongside McLaren. But McLaren did have, and they do look like they've got a better car this year than I first originally thought as well, which is great. Norris already putting in some good mileage. Daniel Ricciardo, you know, it's his sort of first year at McLaren, but he already looks settled in, which is great. The Mercedes power unit, no issues in terms of reliability for that, which is fantastic. So it's looking really good for McLaren as well. Quick note on Ferrari, they do look better than they were last year. I know that's not saying a lot, but they do look faster. Matthew Binotto says the straight line speed is not much of a disadvantage anymore, so that's looking really good. They've had good strong progress with the power unit over winter, and they think it's going to be a lot better this year for them. Carlos Sainz again, new team, but he looks comfortable in there already, and Charles Leclerc managed almost 2,100 kilometers of running as well, which is good. So Ferrari again have good reliability over this test. I know that's not really saying a lot, but it could go into the first race weekend and have reliability issues. Of course, any team could, but they do look really strong as well. And like I said, you know, in terms of, I'm just going to go day 3 for an example. AlphaTauri 167 laps, Alfa Romeo 166. In what Kimi Raikkonen did. Ferrari 159. Williams, George Russell only had one day. Latifi only had the Saturday as well. But yeah, George Russell managed 158 laps on his day on Sunday. Haas 145. They're looking a little bit better than I thought they were going to, but they're still going to be, for me, at the back of the grid. Mercedes did manage 140, but it was really low in terms of the actual whole lap count for the 3-day test. Aston Martin 136, McLaren 132, but like I said, they already had some good progress previously, and Red Bull 113, but again, I think they were just doing sort of race simulations and a little bit of qualifying pace at the end, so lap counts weren't major for them. So yeah, really good notes for the test. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you think was the good ones in the test? And we'll see what happens in the first race weekend. I will see you all in the next video. Take care. See you soon.